Hello, everyone. My name is Edwin Rogers, and you are watching Be Here. We have a great show for you today. We have Max Noir of FXG here with us, as well as Bobby Carlton of Ready Learner One. Hey! Not to be confused with the popular show Ready and movie book, sorry. Ready Player One, movie and book.
Right. No. Don't confuse them.
But let's start off with a little preview of the amazing work that FXG is doing in China. So take a look at this. All right, so, welcome back. Okay, so that was a really quick preview on FXG, which Max can tell us a little bit more about. Nikk, by the way, the CEO, might be joining us in a little bit. He's calling from China, and it's a little tricky to get going, but he might be here in a few minutes.
Might be here in a few minutes.
You never know.
Working on it.
Yeah, so Nikk is hopefully joining us soon, but us at FXG, we're based in Hangzhou, China, and I'm based in New York City, and we focus on 360 video production. I see he's just joined us.
There he is.
I love your outfit, Nikk.
Hey, Nikk.
Yay, round of applause for
Edwin.
Nikk.
We showed
Pajamas, which I predicted.
We showed a video of your amazing work. So
always a pleasure. Dearest Bobby, wonderful to be here.
I was just introducing you, but I guess you can do that yourself now.
Oh, he might be a delay.
yeah, well, he's calling in from China, so other side of the world, little latency, we get it.
But
We're
he's
listening. Nikk,
Uh-oh, we lost Nikk again.
he's a frozen teddy bear on the screen, but we love it.
And he's gone.
Okay, we're gonna hold off on Nikk for a little bit, but we will be coming back to him and shortly once, I don't know, in a minute. But for now, yes, tell us a little bit about FXG, Max.
Yes. So we focus on 360 video production. We do it super well. We can film up to 16K and we can get up to 30 centimeters away from our subjects, which is crazy. We also are super into volumetric video. We have a research facility at our China HQ partnered with Sony, where we're researching volumetric capture and 6DoF in 360 video and light field and all of these amazing things. So that's just a glimpse into all of the cool stuff that we're doing.
Okay, so if that sounded like Chinese to some people. Explain it. But at the same time, all of what she just said was just dope. Dope. So I'm just translating.
Yeah.
Viewer that doesn't know what 6-dot volumetric capture is. When you keep watching the show, you'll get it. But
if you don't speak the language, it basically just means super, super cool.
Bro, super awesome. And all right, now Bobby, tell us a little bit about Ready Learner One, which sounds really
Yeah, so Ready Learner One, we're actually we're a team of instructional designers. We actually work with K through 12 and higher ed and corporate environments on how they can bring in immersive technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality into their ecosystem in a way that doesn't disrupt the workflow, well, with the least amount of disruption, but also without alienating, legacy employees or even non-tech employees. We're spread out through the United States. Most of the team is here in New York State, but we do have individuals. We have one instructor based out of London and another based out of California. So, but it's a good crew, and we like to have fun. But it's really about sort of changing how people learn.
Cool. Well, I love the name, by the way, Ready Learner One. It's definitely a cool pun on Ready Player One, which if you have not read this book, it's a fascinating, fun read. And Spielberg decided to make it into a movie.
He did.
Some people like it. I have mixed reviews. I kind of like it. But I do love the book.
It's interesting, the name, we actually got permission. We actually wrote the author and got permission on that name. So.
Which is awesome that you could even talk to the author because he sounds really cool and he likes the 80s.
Yeah, who doesn't?
He likes the 80s a lot. All right, Nikk. Oh, just when I was going to say, I thought I lost you. Tell us what it's like in China right now. It seems cozy, warm.
Yeah, I got my PJs on. Not because I'm on quarantine, but because it's late at night. Miss the quarantine days a little bit. Love wearing my PJs all day, every day. But yeah, it seems life's kind of getting back to normal here.
Well,
we still got our masks on all day, every day, but going to the office, going to the mall. I don't go to the mall, but I could go to the mall if I wanted to. So yeah, seems like we're moving on.
Yeah, so I'm based in New York, and I just would like a kind of preview of what it would be like to go back to normal. Like, is it really going to go back to normal? Is it just, was it like, oh, we're allowed to leave and everyone just raced out, or was it a gradual restaurants started to reopen kind of thing? Can you tell me a little bit about that experience? We are going to get into tech VR stuff first, but I just was curious. Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely a slow process, and it's still going really slowly. Like, even though I'm allowed to go out, like, everybody's still on edge. You see somebody without a mask, you're like, don't get any plague on me. But it's been like gradual, I guess. Businesses open first, then restaurants, now malls, now bars. Business is still really bad for most people because like everybody's on edge, but it's definitely moving back to normal. But I think it's going to take a while. Even after there's a vaccine out and there's 0 cases worldwide, we still got this like plague mentality that I think may take a while. Or I read online like how our grandparents would do weird stuff like hoard beans. People aren't going to get it, but we're going to be like 7 years old with like a closet full of toilet paper. And be like, you don't understand. Grandpa lived through COVID-19.
Well, I don't understand the need for toilet paper. I just don't get it. There's trees everywhere. They're not going to be a shortage of trees, and that's where it comes from. So but you know what? I stocked up on food because I think I need that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving from COVID conversation, I definitely want to talk a little bit about solutions, because there's so many problems that all of this has caused. And I think us as innovators, especially in the cutting edge, working in technology, but also VR, AR, we have some solutions. Actually, we've been preaching some solutions to industries that didn't listen and are, kind of suffering. Like, I love, for example, the past few shows have been about Broadway shows, because I love the Broadway experience. And I think a virtual reality Broadway experience is great. But, it's this right, movies, this, that they were reluctant to go for it. And now, I know personally, I would love to be able to watch tons of Broadway content as if I was there.
Interesting, Edwin, you bring up Broadway. I was actually on a project called Spring Space, which was how do we use virtual technology to produce a show. And the producer of the show, we actually brought in all this, YouTube live streaming, 360 video, and we were working with people working in Australia. We were working with actors here in Saratoga Springs, and then choreographers were here. But we also had the director in New York City, and we just tried. It was an experiment, and we just used all these virtual tools to see if it was possible to create a show. And it was a great start, but it never went beyond that. But the show, I believe, before all this was happening, was actually being produced on Broadway.
That's pretty cool. So I'm getting some comments from John Pugh. Is asking, what is volumetric video, by the way? And so I guess, I did promise I would explain the coolness of these terms. So volumetric capture, and you guys could chime in, is really an amazing new technology. So basically what you do is you have maybe 30 or maybe 100 cameras pointing at a subject, right? Inside of a room with all green screen. Then you can kind of turn that 3D model of a person around and look at them all around. So it's like if I was looking at a Coke bottle, I would be able to see it, and I could turn it completely around using AR technology in your phone. So that's kind of like the gist of volumetric capture. It allows for so much possibilities, and I'm really excited too, because even here in New York now, there's a volumetric capture studio that just opened in Pier 59 called VR Accelerate. And if you want, you can go to vraccelerate.com, take a look at that volumetric capture studio to learn a little more about what they're doing. Here in New York, we finally have some volumetric, so we can create really robust, amazing content. So Nikk, I guess, have you played around with volumetrics, and what have you been able to do with that? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I think it's super exciting, the whole concept of it, because it's taking a VR video where you're kind of standing in the scene, but then you can create video where you're fully able to walk around in the scene. And we went with VR headsets, you were stuck in one position, 3 DOF back in the day, and now in games you're peering over things and looking around things. Volumetric video just opens you up to that, which is just an entirely new video experience. And for me personally, what I think is really interesting is combining volumetrically filmed assets with traditional game mechanics. So you can have a game or something where your characters are fully real and they move like a human, their clothes jingle jangle, but you're shooting them or you're running from them or whatever. And I think that's a whole new way of making content that we're beginning to explore, but it's super early, and yeah, there's lots of exciting things that could be done.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I remember going to film school back in the long time ago, and it was I was literally cutting film with scissors, and with 8-track tapes, editing. Woo! We have videotape editing. It was literally basically 2 VHS tapes that you try to edit together. And it's come along so far and so fast. At that time, I would have never, ever imagined that, I could be, as a filmmaker, creating an experience that you could actually enjoy in headset and feel like you're in another complete place. I think that when you think about the motion picture industry and motion pictures in general, right? Pictures started out as frozen black and white and went to color. But it's always been in a rectangle. Even in IMAX, 80, 90 screen rectangle with 360 and our technology, it's actually become a sphere inside a rectangle, but a sphere inside a rectangle, and that opens up a lot of possibilities for immersion. And so ever since I tried it, I really love it because I think that it gives a sense of reality where you're actually capturing a time, a place, a moment, unfiltered. And what I love about FXG, which to be honest, and Max will tell you, when she first told me, okay, we have this amazing camera. Like, I've seen some amazing cameras. I've seen cameras. I've seen some amazing cameras. And then she was like, yeah, here it is. And it uses GoPros. I was like, whoa, GoPros. How could it be different? Then I put it on and I saw the videos, and literally the subject could be literally inches from the screen, and they're not, they don't have that kind of like split screen errors that you get with most cameras, and the quality, 16K, 16,000 pixels. Now our eyes, 20/20 vision is I think 12K. So they're going higher than 20/20 vision as far as resolution. And like broadcasters nowadays, like I work at NBC, I'm not gonna say nothing, but lots of the content that you see is 2K, not even 4K. We're not, you got to go to Japan to see some 4K, or anyone even talking about 8K. We're past, as VR filmmakers, we need more than that. We need like 16K to give people that sense of reality and pixel clarity from something in a distance. You want to talk a little bit about what your camera, amazing camera, by the way, that when I tried it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Tell us a little bit more of the details that I don't know.
Yeah, so what we're working on for us, we really focus on a couple things. One is being able to film in stereoscopic. That's super important, that you have that dimension to things. And 2, quality. That we can just keep pumping up the quality and getting as close to reality, because it is really hard. Like, even when you have like a 16K video, that's 16K all the way around you.
Yeah.
And you only see like a little piece of it. So if we want to get that piece you're seeing to be 16K, then we need the entire video to be like 32 or something really crazy high. So it's just the requirements to achieve realism when you have so much film all around you is super high. So for us, that's what we're really focusing on, trying to push that boundary there.
Awesome. So Max, can you tell us a little bit more about the projects that you're working on and what's coming up? I don't want to leave you out here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into things too specifically because it's top secret. But I will say that with this whole COVID thing going on, it seems that people are kind of finally waking up to the idea that immersive technology is really cool and also super crucial, especially in times like this. So it's been really busy few weeks, but really good few weeks. I'm working on a few different projects with different organizations that are utilizing 360 video for positive social change of different sorts, empathy building, education, and these are all of my favorite things, and that's sort of like what brought me into immersive tech to begin with. So yeah, I'm just super excited to be working with all of these professionals whose jobs are to make the world a better place.
Awesome. Well, speaking of education, I definitely want to say we back from comments. Bobby rocks. So,
Bobby does rock.
so I just wanted
Thank you,
to
Carrie.
understand a little more about how you rock as far as education. Tell us a little more about what you're working on.
So yeah, a lot of my work in VR and AR, is really outside of the gaming spectrum. I really have focused a lot on education, right? K through 12 and corporate training. And my focus is actually really more on corporate training. And the whole thing about it is that virtual reality can take the learner and place them in places that they normally couldn't go into, puts them into dangerous environments that don't have real world consequences. But because of the realism of virtual reality and the technology, you get a more of an emotional response. Empathy plays a big role in sort of how we're learning and how we're using the tech. And it also allows you to make mistakes, and it allows you to control the experience. So in a sense, you, the learner, you're the director in the experience. You're able to start over, go backwards, go forwards, redo it, and again, able to have a full physical and emotional response. If you think about this idea of virtual reality, like gaming, when you think about gaming, it's a sort of a stationary thing. You're playing with a controller, but in VR, you're physically moving. So your real world movements are emulated in virtual reality. And so you're developing mental muscle memory. And that's something a colleague of mine really sort of pushed on me, was the fact that because you're not getting a physical response in the sense of like weights or actual pushback, but you're developing the mental muscle memory to actually go through the process of learning things. And then when you take those motions into the real world, you're able to perform these tasks. And the data even shows that we're able to learn faster in virtual reality and retain more information. And you're even least likely to make a mistake through VR training. And so education's really changed. Education, as we look at sort of the K through 12 spectrum of what's happening, those are the future employees of the corporate world, which is why we're seeing corporate companies. So one of my clients right now is a global group who are looking at sustainability, and they have a lot of their consortium members are these large corporate environments who want to be more sustainable, and they're now exploring how VR is going to impact them now by looking at what's happening in the K through 12 environments. And so that's where the big change is. And we're starting to see as adoption starts to happen quickly with these, elementary and middle school students. Again, in 5 years, these are the ones entering the workforce. And when they walk into your training, if you're not using AR or VR as part of your training mechanism, then you're going to come across as maybe a little antiquated, and they may take their talents elsewhere. They may say, "Hey," that'd be like if Edwin, if you got a new job and I gave you a typewriter and a landline phone, you can do the job, but it's older technology, right? And so new technology is changing how we learn, and these learners, these incoming experts, want to see newer technology. So that's really how it's changing.
Well, I do miss the sounds of the
clicking,
and then that little like wipe out tape whenever you made a mistake, and it was just like that was high tech with word processor. I do miss those old tech days, but no, I love my computer.
There's something special about it. That's definitely.
I wouldn't be able to live stream with my typewriter.
That's right.
Wouldn't work. Would not work. So
I gotta say about the typewriters, I bought a typewriter so I could type out cryptic messages from Frederick, and nobody in my office misses that sound. Everybody's silent at their keyboards, and I'm like, click, 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 click.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I can't imagine having to type with reels of paper. Oh no, those days are gone.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you're still able to do your work. I mean, I look at these old photos of the early engineers, the women engineers who wrote the code out for the astronauts, and they had these giant thick books of code that they wrote on a typewriter. That's amazing to me. But again, as we have more technology, makes our jobs easier.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think also that we're going to start seeing more adoption in. So, I mean, all of these schools were forced instantly to have to go virtual, and people are going to need to have educational backup that is virtual, that is more user friendly. And I mean, Zoom is wonderful for lots of things, but it's not a solution for everything. For example, my wife has been teaching for a while, and the first question she was like, how do you take attendance with Zoom? People are in, people are out. There needs to be something a little more custom specifically for distance learning in order to have the custom needs for each individual business. So education is going to need certain things like attendance, while like if you're having a video like another industry, maybe like a medical telemedicine, they might need to have files of the doctor's medical records or something like that. So each individual business is going to have their own tailored needs, and right now us as creatives have to start thinking about it. Then we got to take that layer of the virtual reality too into consideration and think about how could we create an educational experience that utilizes a headset but doesn't require it.
Right.
A
learning environment. Yeah.
Big problem in our industry. Everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna have a virtual conference, and now who needs to go physically? Woo-hoo! We're all gonna be. Wait a second. That old person that has, that don't have a VR headset, how are they gonna attend? So there needs to be a little bit, and I feel like why am I blanking? Something Spaces. The way they had the education of VR conference with, I think it was like 400
Gauge.
No, inside of gosh, I'm blanking on the name.
Well, there was AltSpace.
AltSpace VR. That's what I meant. Yeah. Inside of AltSpace VR, I think what's nice about AltSpace VR, it's all JavaScript based, it works really well in a headset. A little too much young kids clattering and random people for me, but you can use it with a desktop experience. Although it's clunky, it's just going to get better. So that I think is the direction that we need to go. I'm really, I really think that we have to start thinking in that direction, and that I feel like we are the ones that are going to be taking the lead on this. There's a lot of businesses that like overnight suddenly started to have these needs, and we have to be the ones to innovate and show what is possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're almost at the end of our show. I like to keep it about half an hour. And so I just want to thank all our guests for participating, and thank you in the chat room. Shout out to my sister. That's my sister. Anyway, so I definitely want to have more of these conversations. Max, you're always invited. We're working on co-hosting. Nikk, I know you're in China. It's late at night. I really appreciate you for coming on so late. And Bobby, I thank you so much as well.
Thanks
so
for
I'm going to end off with that video, so you could check out a little bit more of what FXG has to offer.